Hey guys, and welcome back to Contextual Electronics. My name is Chris Gamble, and I wanted to show you around my new lab today. I recently went through some big changes. I moved to Chicago back in August, and it's been a while, but I've been getting my lab set up here. And the big change for me was that I went from a house to an apartment, and so I went from this large basement lab to a much more constrained apartment space, which I know is the case for a lot of people that are getting started in electronics, university students, people that are, just living in a city versus living out in the suburbs somewhere. So I thought it would be good to kind of go through how I'm dealing with a more space-constrained lifestyle and talk a little bit about that, but also, show my new setup, and I'd love recommendations or feedback or anything like that. So first things first, let's step over to the bench. So this is my view here. I do have the Rigol there as a kind of a size reference, but this mat here is actually, it's on Amazon. I think it's like 2.5 feet by like 2 feet in width. So I mean, pretty good size, can definitely get a couple things on there. And the really nice thing is that I now have an overhead lighting setup much closer to the bench, so I'm able to manipulate the camera arm and stuff like that. That should actually make things much easier. Before I mounted things to the ceiling of my old basement. And so having a close by, I have up here basically, I have a lighting setup, and then also I can mount the camera up there. I also, like in previous years, I will have a split screen setup for going over KiCad. KiCad is a very large piece of contextual electronics, and I'm very excited to do more videos for that, especially as new versions of it become available. So one more thing here, I got a new toy. This was actually recommended by Micah, who has a great YouTube channel, and this is actually this is a microscope. So, and you can see already, this is actually an LED. I've got it already adjusted for it because this is the hard one to do. But you can actually see like how good the magnification is on this thing. And I'm just capturing. This is just a HDMI based microscope here, and I'm just capturing. If I zoom it way out. Not way out, but if I zoom it out, this is actually the LED strip that is being used in the overhead lighting right now. And so you can see pretty decent detail. And this is the thing that I didn't necessarily like about my old setup. I would be using a webcam, and it was tough to kind of see the solder joint up close. And I know how nerve-wracking that can be when you're getting started in electronics. It's not that you need magnification, but it's that you want to see what a good solder joint looks like. Okay, so now let's also go here. This is going to be a little bit overloaded on the light side of things, but just wanted to kind of show the relative scale of this setup here, right? So these are just standard IKEA shelves. I forget what they're called, but they're like the 4x4 shelves. And then I mounted the bench here. You just saw that bench, and then just a standard. This is my computer setup over here then. And then you can see also that I have a whole bunch of shelving here, and that's good for parts storage, stuff like that. Now, you may be saying, well, that's, it is definitely a small space, but it's actually, it's opportunistic too, right? The rest of this space, this is actually a kitchen that I'm in. So I'm actually sitting in a kitchen nook right now. And, I was going to get a much bigger space in my apartment, but I just figured it wasn't really necessary because I was able to squeeze in here, and I think that it's possible to do more with less, especially as I was downsizing, as I was going from a lab to a basement lab rather to a smaller apartment lab like this. A lot of the stuff that I had was not getting used, or was not being used. The space was not getting used well. So I really love that bench that I built, and that was sad to leave that. But otherwise, it's been really good to kind of see what I can do with this space, and I'll continue to play around. Obviously, lead free because of the kitchen. But who's going to use a breakfast nook anyways? So so this is a new space. I would love some recommendations if you have space saving recommendations. I've been trying to go vertical. I don't know if you saw there was that. Right above the bench, I actually ended up using shelving above the bench to help get lighting right there, and that's where that camera arm is mounted to, and just kind of get stuff up off the bench. Vertical storage can be really, really useful for a new setup. So this is what I'm calling Contextual Electronics version 3.0, not just because it's in a new city and stuff like that, but actually there are changes coming to the content and how we're delivering, how we're talking about skills and just making sure that we focus more on the beginners, right? Because that's often been where people fall off. Some people have kept going through contextual electronics and learned a lot of really interesting things, but a lot more people, it's tough, especially getting started, right? If you're watching these videos on YouTube, you might be a beginner, you might be, hoping to get in electronics, and you might even be considering the program, but it's really that beginning piece that's so critical, and that's what we're going to be focusing on in 2017. So I'm excited to be trying out my new lab. Like I said, if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.